how we need to reciprocate in that association according to the level of advancement. Definitely, we try to give them respect. We offer obeisances, and we take opportunity to render service to the exalted devotees in various ways. So that's what the fifth verse explains. What we need to do in the association, we give them respect, and we don't expect any kind of respect for ourselves. Amanina manati. And then we also need to what to be done in that association and what should not be done in the association. We should not see the external faults. That's what we are discussing. And we should be focusing on the essence. So we'll continue from yesterday's. We have seen how Prabhupada explaining what these are all external. Externally, one is maybe having faults in his translation, though the verse is not speaking exactly on what the external faults, the apparent faults, but Prabhupada translation, in his translation, he brings out some points that should not be taken into account when we are trying to take association of the devotee or trying to respect them. So a devotee having a body of born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, maybe because of the color, that he may be talking about color, bad complexion. This is about birth, this is about complexion of the body. And deformed body, short, fat, long, any kind of shape, etc. So a diseased body may have some diseases externally. Or infirm body may have some, is not very stout and strong. So accordingly, these are all external things. Of course, here one point may come that these are all manifest because of what? Let us suppose if anybody has these kinds of external defects, shortcomings, this is because of what? Why one will have these kinds of bodies? Can anyone say? Why one will have? What is the reason? Anyone want to answer?
Probably, can you repeat the question once?
Yeah, Prabhupada is speaking about different kinds of bodies. Body in low family, body with bad complexion, maybe different deformed bodies, etc. All these imperfections, why they manifest in the body? Anyone? In general also.
Is the question like why there are so many imperfections in body?
Yeah, why there is imperfection in the body? In general, or in general, people in general, I am asking. Maybe a devotee or non-devotee, why they are resulting from, where they are resulting from?
Because of their previous karmas.
Yeah, because of the previous karma only. That is, you have read in Bhagavad Gita, karma, previous, of course, it will come NOD also, in more clarity, it will come in NOD, Nectar of Devotion. How prarabdha karma, and all this cycle you will learn in NOD. But in general also, we understand that Prabhupada writes in NOD only. This is all because of we know also. Yeah, I think even in different sayings in different languages also. Because of my bad karma only, I got you as a child. These are all my karma coming to me. When son is not behaving properly, or he or she is not behaving properly, or when they are not listening to the parents out of frustration or out of kind of
हमारे ही बेकार कर्म है जो हमारे घर में जन्म लिया.
Correct.
ऐसी पुत्र हमारी या पुत्री हमको मिली।
So
हमारे नसीब
it's a in Indian culture it's inbuilt in the blood only it is there. Are because of my karma I'm suffering. Because of my karma you born. My enemy is born in my home only. So yeah, these are all actual facts. Prabhupada writes in the purports also and in Bhagavatam also they come. That's because of our own karma. It takes various forms and comes to us again. So these are all. So now the point here is when one becomes a devotee, and especially when advanced devotee, even if they are manifesting these things, one should not assign to this all this to his karma. Hey, because of his karma only he's suffering now like this. That should not happen. That is the main point here. We should not.
then Prabhu, why they are suffering, Prabhu, then? Because of
Yeah,
karma only one has to suffer, no, Prabhu? Maybe
yeah.
Kanishta or Madhyam or Uttam, maybe whatever it is.
So that's the main point. Devotional service, when one starts devotional service, when one takes shelter of Krishna, all the karma is destroyed, taken away at the time of Diksha especially. One is suffering. All the sufferings that we see externally is all because of special mercy of the Lord. Or at least a devotee considers this is my karma only. But we should not assign, hey, because of his past life or because of his karma, bad karma, he is suffering now, especially to the exalted devotees like the spiritual masters, Sishya Gurus, or advanced devotees, and Prabhupada and all. We cannot assign, oh, he is suffering because he did some sinful activity. That should not be pointed out. That is an offense to the spiritual master. So that is all on a spiritual level. Why Krishna manifests these things in their bodies, especially the diseases that we may see. Of course, when a body is naturally is there, he has a fat body, has a thin body, has a deformed body, or something like that. They're all came with birth. But especially the diseases are while carrying out the devotional services, especially spiritual master becomes sick. Prabhupada many times mentioned that all I am suffering just because my disciples are not following the principles and not chanting Hare Krishna. All the karma of disciples is carried to spiritual master also. His responsibility is there. That's why many times also it happens like that. What the disciples should take responsibility of spiritual life. They are not carrying out properly, then that is carried on to spiritual master. That's why it's a regulative principle. Rupa Goswami also mentions that one should not make too many disciples. Of course, out of compassion, Prabhupada was warned also by Sampath Kumar, one great acharya from South India in Hyderabad. When he was installing the Hyderabad temple deities, there was one Sampath Kumar from Ramanujacharya Sampradaya who installed the deities. So this personality, he was there for 15-20 days for installing and doing all the yajnas and all. He was talking to Prabhupada and he became very close to Prabhupada. So later on he understood the effects of Prabhupada installing the deity of himself in the temple while he was alive. When Prabhupada was alive, he allowed the deity of Prabhupada to be installed and worshipped. So that was very much in the sense that if one worships, then all the sins will go to him. That is the understanding of Shastra. So the Sampath Kumar was very much concerned to Prabhupada and flew from Hyderabad to Bombay when Prabhupada was in Bombay and talked to Prabhupada and said to Prabhupada also, Prabhupada, you are allowing yourself to be worshipped while you are alive in deity form. So this is a very This is very, very much troubling to you. All the sins of them will come to you. Then Prabhupada was nonchalant. Prabhupada was cool. Then asked a rhetoric question. Asked in reply. So that's why I came. That's why I'm trying to preach. That's my mission itself. So that's what Prabhupada's compassion. Just to deliver all of us from all these kinds of sinful activities. All people in general. जनस्य कृष्णाद् विमुखस्य दैवात् अधर्मशीलस्य सुदुःखितस्य अनुग्रहाय चरन्ति नूनं भूतानि भव्यानि जनार्दनस्य. Janasya Krishnad Vimukasya Daivat. Vimuka, all people in general, they are becoming Vimukha. Janasya Krishnad Vimukasya Daivat, all the people. But Adharma Silasya Sudukkitasya, why they are becoming, what happens by Vimukha to Daiva? Then Adharma Silasya, they will all do all kinds of Adharma activities. By Adharma, what will happen? Sudukkitasya, they suffer. So for them, Anugrahaya Charanti Nunam, they walk, all these great souls, they walk on the earth, Anugrahaya, to show compassion. Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya, Janardana people, the people of Janardan, the devotees of Janardan, they walk all around just to show compassion to all people. So the cause, definitely, we should not ascribe, point out directly to that they are suffering because of their karma. That's the offense towards spiritual master especially. And in general devotees, we should not say that. We should try to help them if we can. Let us suppose a mother is there and child is there. If the child cries in the midnight, mother should not say that, hey, baby is crying just because of his own karma. I can't do anything. She should not say like that. Baby is crying because of karma. That's maybe definitely. But mother's responsibility or the duty is to take care of the child. So karma, we have to see exactly how to apply the karma principle, where to apply. It's a very sensitive topic, karma. Definitely one may be going through many karmic reactions, but how to bring that karma aspect into a devotee's reactions or devotee's life, we need to very sensitively apply. It should not be like post-mortem. Always we are doing, oh, because of your karma only you are suffering. You should suffer more. No, if we can help, we should help the devotees by in various ways. And the devotee's personal responsibility is that he understands, this is my karma. Even Prahlad Maharaj says, even Brahmaji's prayer says that, Uttarasur Maharaj says, that is because of my own karma, I am just suffering all these things. That day, one devotee may express his humility in that way. But we should not point out that you are suffering, your karma. We need to help, we can help, and we should help. But just like a king also, one example I heard, just like king, if one citizen is honestly earning everything, but if a robber comes and robs everything, and if the citizen goes to king and says, my home is robbed, the king should not say, you are suffering your own karma, you suffer. No, the dharma of the king is to protect the citizen. You should try to control the thieves and rogues and all the adharmic people. So that may be the karma of the person. That's there for him. That he has to deal with his own life. But the responsibility in this life, he didn't do anything. But his responsibility of the king is to take care. So similarly, we as a devotees, we should not have in the mind, especially those exalted devotees, that they are suffering because of their karma, their past life. So that's the main point here. Externally, we see some things and we should not unnecessarily exaggerate or unnecessarily pinpoint and criticize them because of their previous lives they are suffering. But we should take the account into the Brahma Dravatvam. Here, two words are there: Prakrutatvam and Brahma Dravatvam. Prakrutatvam means materiality. Prakruta means material. Prakrutatvam means ness, materialness or materiality. Brahma Dravatvam. Brahma means transcendental nature. Transcendental Brahma Dravatvam. Of course, it applies to water, Ganga, Amazon. And it applies to the devotee also. We need to see not the material aspects, but the spiritual aspects of the devotee. And by that, we need to serve them, and we should not pinpoint unnecessarily the faults. So that's the verse Prabhupada explained how. And Prabhupada explained yesterday purport we read that how one becomes to a liberated condition when practicing devotional service. So by practicing devotional service itself, because devotional service itself is in a liberated condition of Vyabhicharini Bhakti. So in that liberated condition, so by practicing the liberated condition, we can see that liberated condition of the exalted souls. That is one point we understood. So we need to practice bhakti so that we also come to the position where we can see clearly who is who. That is one point. And one is because one is a liberated condition. So the external things doesn't matter. That is another point. So that's why Prabhupada wrote here that in this Krishna conscious moment, one's consciousness must be changed. So our consciousness should keep on evolving from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. Prakrutatvam to Brahmatravatvam. Definitely, if we are responsible, if we are taking charge of some students, counselees, disciples, etc., if they are doing some mistakes, definitely we need to pinpoint and try to correct. But the main point is that as a devotees, we always see the spiritual aspects of the devotees to encourage them, inspire them, and not find faults unnecessarily. Even though we may see the faults, here he is not say the verse is not saying there are no faults externally. There are faults. Drashtai. Drashtai means he is seeing something. But we should not see material. Na pashyet prakrutatvam. So one should therefore not see a pure devotee from materialistic point of view. How we can do that? So by focusing on his spiritual aspects. What is his business? What he is doing? Even devotees also. We may see many shortcomings with our friends, devotee friends, or other devotees. So, but we can see what he is doing to the mission. He is trying to chant Hare Krishna. At least trying to come to the temple, chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds, following 4 regulative principles. How many of people in this world are following the regulative principles and chanting Hare Krishna? Hardly 0.1%, hardly 0.01%. So at least for that we need to appreciate. We can see many other good qualities in other devotees. So focusing on spiritual aspects, we should not see the material aspect and criticize them. So that's what Prabhupada concluded. So until this point we read that no one should criticize bodily defects of a devotee. They should be overlooked. They are there. They will be seen and they should be overlooked. Basically, we should not be focusing on them and maximizing them, zooming them on those faults. Bhakti Saraswati Thakur used to give an example. I am like a honeycomb. I am like a sieve, having so many holes in myself. But I am trying to see the hole in the needle. That's the paradox. So I may be like a honeycomb with many faults, and I may be like sieve also. Sieve, I mean, you all know sieve, where we segregate things. So sieve has so many holes, sieves. But a honeycomb or sieve should not find fault in the needle, saying that you have a hole on the back. So that because one has so many faults, Bhakti Thakur also mentions, because I have so many faults, I see many faults in others. The tendency comes out, as we have seen yesterday also. What I wear spectacles, with the spectacles only I see. So that's why Prabhupada mentioned. So we need to raise ourselves to at least Madhya platform, so that we try to recognize the devotees who are also on Madhyama and Uttam platforms. We still remain on the neophyte platform. We see everyone as a neophyte. So that's the point here. So we need to be careful. We also advance, and we also try to see others in a proper light, and try to give respect properly and not offend or disrespect others. By focusing on spiritual masters' business, or the spiritual aspects of the devotees, should be taken into account. That's the point here. Principle of karma we have seen, and also here Sanatana Goswami example is very much applicable. Sanatana Goswami got sores on his body while he was coming from Vrindavan to Puri. So Lord Chaitanya didn't say, "Hey, because of your karma, you got all these sores. Don't come to me." No, Sanatana Goswami, he was embracing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, embracing constantly Sanatana Goswami, and he was feeling very much ashamed. So Lord Chaitanya says that if I am discriminating, then it's a fault on sannyasi. A sannyasi should not see dualities. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is keeping himself like, what is my dharma as a sannyasi? He is not saying what is your karma as a Sanatana Goswami. So that's another example. One should not see externals of the personality. If one focuses on them, one may become critical about those faults. That's the main point. Okay. So Prabhupada here quoting a verse from Bhagavad Gita 9:30. This is a famous verse. So why is bringing? So definitely the external feature like this body, like all the deformities or the diseases, etc., they are external features. But if the external activities either in the past or present, which are maybe very, very difficult to understand, even they are abominable from the moral standards, still Krishna says that person is a sadhu. So when and how and why he is saying, let us see. So when we should be considering that person is also a sadhu, though the external activities, what to speak of features. Krishna is clarifying. Prabhupada is quoting this verse, bringing out point here. So those who didn't read yesterday can start maybe today. Arvind Bro can assign maybe. Sagar Bro, you want to assign other devotees? Or?
Yeah, Narasimha Prabhu, can you please read this? Narasimha Prabhu, I think that got dropped. Krishnavali Mataji? Yes.
Yes, Surya can.
Yeah, Amal Draupadi Mataji is reading, and then you can follow her after that.
Okay.
As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.30, even if a devotee sometimes seems to engage in abominable activities, he should be considered a sadhu, a saintly person, because his actual identity is that of one engaged in the loving service of the Lord. In other words, he is not to be considered an ordinary human being. The external features, which are the point of condition, one, birth.
Yeah, so here one point is that, so though external activities apart from the features, if they are seen in the devotee. But if he is focused or Vyavasita, he is determined to practice devotional service. So that past activities we should not bring into picture. Like the famous case of Vishwamitra. You all know the Vishwamitra's case. So Indians know Vishwamitra's case very well, the stories. But still Lord Ram accepted as a spiritual master later on because he is focused, he is determined to practice devotional service. Later on he became a devotee. Ram didn't say that, "Arey, you fellow, you are affected by so many lust, anger, greed. So many times you fell down in your spiritual life. How can I accept you? How can I serve you?" No, he didn't say like that. Because he is definitely situated on spiritual platform and he is practicing devotional service and he is elevated in consciousness. Lord Ram is serving and massaging his lotus feet every day. When Lord Ram was taken to forest for protecting the yajna. So these things we need to be extremely careful about commenting or even internally cultivating some kind of negative feelings. We need to be careful. Definitely, I'm not saying everyone should be, if somebody is doing some activities which are very much against the moral principles, even what to speak of Krishna conscious principles, we should definitely pinpoint and consult people, consult devotees, consult higher authorities who can clarify things and take actions also if they are related to me or in my group, etc. Or if it comes to my supervision or it comes to my observation. If, definitely because Krishna conscious movement, as Prabhupada mentioned, is picking up souls from all kinds of backgrounds because we are all coming from various backgrounds and there may be some lapses and some difficulties for some devotees. And they should be corrected and they should be taken into account and they should be dealt properly the cases. But our prime goal should be focused on and we need to continue ahead and while trying to do whatever best we can to help others. So that is the point about external activities. Now Prabhupada comes to external features. So whatever the external features that we talked, Prabhupada basically points out this is all because of birth. That's the main external feature Prabhupada talks in the purport. And then he clarifies how that should be seen. And actually here we need to understand when Prabhupada writing this book, I think in 1972, I think where preface we read, I think 1972. He is writing this one. So during that time, he started preaching in India also, and especially in Vrindavan and by the Gaudiya Mata devotees. They were not at all accepting any kind of standards or the the procedures of what Prabhupada established as an ISKCON. So, of course, we don't know much in letters, but there is a book called Prabhupada Friend to All. This is all interviews of all the devotees who came in touch with Prabhupada during from 1920s to later on also from 1920s till at least 1965 before he came to West. They were all interviewed and their interactions, etc. They are published on book. So in that there are many interviews. Many shared that the ISKCON devotees, when they started their devotional activities in India, if other devotees come to the temple, like Gaudiya Mata devotees or other people in general also, then first of all, nobody are visiting mainly. I'm saying that this is all Western people and it's all Angrezi movement, etc. Whoever comes, especially Gaudiya Mata devotees and God brothers, they were not accepting anything from the devotees, even water, saying that these are all mlechas. They are eating meat and doing all kinds of nonsense, and now they became devotees and saying that we are performing devotional service. No, they were not even not accepting anything at all. So that was the internal tension to Prabhupada, anxiety, and that was undergoing, that was undercurrent, not accepting anything standards of ISKCON. So that's why this purport also very much highlights those kinds of discrimination between devotees based on birth. Of course, from Shastra, from Bhakti Thakur, nobody agreed for that point how birth becomes a qualification for devotional service. So based on these external and these situations, also Prabhupada writing this purport. So he's talking about especially the birth. Please read.
Sorry, Prabhuji. 1. The external features, which are the point of contention. 1. Birth. Even though a pure devotee may not be born in a Brahmana or Goswami family, if he is engaged in the service of the Lord, he should not be neglected. In actually, in actuality, there cannot be a family of Goswamis based on material considerations, caste, or heredity. The Goswami title is actually the monopoly of the pure devotees. Thus, we speak of the six Goswamis headed by Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami had practically become Mohammedans and had therefore changed their names to Dabir Khas and Sakar Malik. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself made them Goswamis. Therefore, the Goswami title is not hereditary. The word Goswami refers to one who can control his senses, who is master of the senses. A devotee is not controlled by the senses, but is the controller of the senses. Consequently, he should be called Swami or Goswami, even though he may not be born in a Goswami family.
Yeah, this point we already discussed also in the first verses. Goswami becomes not just by naming, but by the taming the senses. He Prabhupada giving example of Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Practically, they became Muslims. Their names were also changed. Kabir Khas and Sakar Malik. Practically, they were doing job just like we go to job every day in the morning, 9 to 5, 9 to 6, 9 to. They were also every day they used to go to court. They have to rule because they are the prime minister and finance ministers. Their whole surroundings were Muslims, practically. But still, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted them and made them the topmost Goswamis. So bhakti is not at all based on the birth. Of course, their birth is a Brahman family, Saraswat Brahman family, definitely. But in those days, the culture was if you became a Muslim just by touching even water of the Muslim, then you are ostraced, you are thrown out of the Hindu society. So that was the system that time. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established them as Goswamis. So that's why Prabhupada is saying is that Goswami is the title is actually monopoly of the pure devotees. So he is turning the tables completely. Those Goswamis who have by family caste Goswamis is here saying that is a monopoly of pure devotees. Please continue.
According to this formula, the Goswamis who are descendants of Sri Nityanand Prabhu and Sri Advait Prabhu are certainly devotees, but devotees coming from other families should not be discriminated against. Indeed, whether the devotees come from a family of previous acharyas or from an ordinary family, they should be treated equally. One should not think, oh, there is an American Goswami and discriminate against him. Nor should one think, here is a Nityanand Vansh Goswami. There is an undercurrent of protest against our awarding the title Goswami to the American Vaishnavas of the Krishna consciousness movement. Sometimes people flatly tell the American devotees that their sannyasa or title of Goswami is not bona fide. However, according to the statements of Srila Rup Goswami in this was an American Goswami and a Goswami in a family of Acharyas are non-different. On the other hand, a devotee who has attained the title of Goswami but is not born of a Brahmana father or of a Goswami in the family of Nityanand or Advait Prabhu should not be artificially puffed up by thinking that he has become a Goswami. He should always remember that as soon as he becomes materially puffed up, he immediately he immediately falls down. Conclusions. Born Goswami or become a Goswami. Don't be jealous. This Krishna consciousness movement is a transcendental science and there is no room for jealousy. This movement is meant for Paramhansas who are completely free from all jealousies.
Yeah.
As per, one should not be jealous whether he is born in a family of Goswamis or has the title of Goswami awarded to him. As soon as anyone becomes envious, he falls from the platform of Paramhansa.
Yeah. So Prabhupada's main point is expressing his feelings from the point of view of. So they were not accepting the sannyas also. They were not accepting even the sannyas of the sannyas order given to some devotees. So that was the main undercurrent during that time what Prabhupada was facing. But it's practically proving and based on Shastra that they need to be accepted. They should not be discriminated based on birth. That is what seeing from the external point of view. And those who devotees who criticized or who criticize based on birth, they definitely will have troubles and struggles in their devotional service. And Prabhupada is concluding with this point that even though he is saying on both sides, definitely those who are awarded Goswamis, they should not become puffed up also. Saying that we became a Goswami now, though we are not born Goswami, but now we are becoming Goswami. That is also very much destructive to spiritual life. So one should not be jealous whether one is born in a Goswami family or has a title of Goswami. So from our level point of view, either we are born in a devotee family or we are became a devotee afterwards. In neither we should not become proud, nor we should identify with some caste and creed or colors or families, and we discriminate based on these things in devotee circles. Or is this that family is this family is Patel family, Reddy's family, etc. They should not at all bring into the devotional circles. They will spoil the whole consciousness if we unnecessarily discriminate and see from a different angles. One is high, one is low. That will unnecessarily spoil our consciousness, and by that we will not advance in Krishna consciousness. So we should not be jealous. That's what Prabhupada's main point. We should not be envious and jealous. Envious means, of course, there is a technical difference. Envious is basically we try to drag down others by doing some activities. If I am envious of other devotee, I may do some other activities by which he will be dragged down in their service. Jealousy is a little lesser heavy word in the sense that what he has, I also want it. Oh, he is distributing 1,000 books, and I'll also try to distribute 1,000 books. Of course, that is not jealousy. Also, in one sense, what is internal is very difficult to discriminate. But one can be taking a spirit of enthusiasm. I also try to distribute 1,000 books. That is good. But if I am jealous, means okay, he has that one, I also want that one materially. Or he has a car, I also want car. He has a big building, I also want big building. That is jealousy. But if one is trying to drag down others, that is envy. Both are very much stumbling blocks one's devotional service one should be careful about. In a good spirits, we can take the challenges or the spirits that he is advancing nicely. Let me also try to serve him. Let me also advance devotional service. So that we need to be careful about. That's what Prabhupada is saying here. That birth is an external feature, and how one should not see the external features of devotees by birth, or by their caste, or by their qualifications, education qualifications, whatever it may be. He is educated, we are all one group, they are illiterate, they are another group, like. So that's the main platform of Paramahamsa, or at least advancing towards Paramahamsa level means not seeing all these external realities, but seeing the spiritual contributions, spiritual engagements, spiritual dedication in the mission. Yes. Some other devotee can continue.
Yes, Prabhu. Which from where? Consequences of seeing the bodily defects.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Some Mataji is reading. Okay, please.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Vallabhan
Consequence.
Mataji, and after that, let Arvind Prabhu would read that.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay.
Let Sagar Prabhu decide and let others follow. Yes.
Consequences of seeing the bodily defects, thoughts, external appearances, etc. If we consider the bodily defects of a Vaishnava, we should understand that we are committing an offense at the lotus feet of the Vaishnava. An offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is very serious. Indeed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has described this offense as Hati Mata, the mad elephant offense. A mad elephant can create a disaster, especially when it enters into a nicely trimmed garden. One should therefore be very careful not to commit any offense against a Vaishnava. What are the symptoms of no jealousy and no offenses? Every devotee should be ready to take instructions from a superior Vaishnava, and a superior Vaishnava must be ready to help an inferior Vaishnava in all respects. One is superior or inferior according to his spiritual development and Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, here Prabhupada is concluding that the topic. He explained about birth, very detailed, how these people are discriminating based on birth, about sannyas also. And now he is just giving overall understanding that by seeing the bodily defects, either by birth or any other defects in the body, we start committing offenses. That is the conclusion, that it develops over the period of time. It may not happen in one day. One is familiarity beats contempt. As we are keep on associating with the devotees, we come to know their subtleties, we come to know their likings, dislikings, and their shortcomings. Initially, it is very okay. Initially, we are, oh, wonderful, Haribol Prabhu, Haribol Mataji. You are wonderful, we may be saying. But over the years, we may be the roommates in ashram, or we may be the devotee friends. But over the years, we come to close, and we will come to know definitely as we are coming together. We will come to know many shortcomings. That shortcomings should not impel us to find faults and distance with each other, but try to help each other. We need to help each other, just like in kitchen I was serving previously. So we generally distribute prasadam in plates in temple generally, but in yatras we have a pattals. Pattal, we generally distribute pattals. So if a pattal has a hole, generally we take second pattal to the devotee. We give second pattal also to devotee so that he can keep the second pattal which it doesn't have any hole, so that it doesn't leak. It doesn't bring out the prasad out. But let us suppose if the second pattal also has a hole. Now what we'll do? So if the pattal has a second hole, second pattal also has a big hole. So we adjust two pattals in such that they compensate each other. The two pattals has both holes, but we adjust, if we can adjust together in such a way that one pattal having a without hole is at the place where the top of pattal has a hole. Basically, both are compensating each other holes. So by that, pattals are used, and also devotee can take prasad nicely in that pattal without any difficulty, without any leaking. So that can apply to devotees definitely, because everybody has some shortcomings, some holes somewhere. But if you keep on pinpointing each other, okay, you have this defect, you have this defect. If the pattal is, if the two pattals are exactly coinciding the same hole, so then whatever you pour on the pattal, it doesn't stay on the pattal. So that's the point where we are pinpointing each other. If we are pointing to each other the same holes, then we cannot cooperate with each other. We cannot take the we cannot we cannot take the devotional service, at least practice ourselves nicely, or to speak of taking ahead. So that's how when we are trying to cooperate means that though you have some difficulty, shortcomings, I will help wherever you need. And wherever I need, I also have some faults. I also have some shortcomings. I accept it. So accepting shortcomings, accepting weaknesses is the greatest strength in devotee circle especially. So by we seek help, we cooperate with each other. By that cooperation, so when the two pathals are adjusted in such a that the prasadam is there on the pathal, and it can be taken, it can be honored. So that's the feast of Srila Prabhupada's mercy is Prabhupada already made the feast. So if we want to distribute, we need to cooperate so that we can become a vehicle to carry the same prasad, the mercy of Prabhupada, what he made the feast to all the people in general. Otherwise, if we keep on pinpointing with each other with all these defects, shortcomings, externally, internally, we will not become an instrument to carry the mercy of Prabhupada to many others. And we cannot release ourselves also in that sense. So we need to be, definitely we as a practicing devotees, we will have so many shortcomings. We, we, we try to acknowledge them, we recognize them, and we try to do other devotional service in such a way that we overcome them with the help of each other. So that's the point. Otherwise, if you keep on focusing on the shortcomings or with the magnifying glass, what to speak of a normal vision, we generally see with the magnifying glass also. Then it becomes, then it will lead to a committing offense, which is a very, very destructive to our spiritual life, committing offenses to the devotees. That's what the Hatimata example is given, that it can destroy the whole garden, can destroy the spiritual life itself. We have seen many examples in history, in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition also. There was one story in even Rupa Swami's life, just to give us a lesson. One day he was meditating. Of course, different versions are there to the story about what he was seeing in the meditation. But basically, he was meditating on Radha and Krishna, and he was chanting, and he was in deep meditation. And in the deep meditation, he is seeing different leelas of the Lord. And in the leelas, it happened that there was some mischief by Krishna, and all the gopis were put ashamed for that mischief of Krishna, and then that made Rupa Goswami laugh. So that laugh in the meditation manifested externally. He was laughing externally also at the body level with closed eyes, meditation in the meditation. And exactly that time, one devotee who was having a deformed body in terms of limping
Hello,
in the body.
hello.
Hare Krishna, can you mute? Mataji? So he was limping in the body. So he thought that Hare Rupa Goswami is laughing at my limping. I have a body which is not very good. and by seeing my limping, he is laughing. So he got upset, or he was a little bit ashamed in the heart. So then he left the place immediately. So because he felt it's kind of an offensive act for himself. So by that act, Rupa Goswami's meditation was lost. He lost the meditation, and then he is trying to meditate again. Then he could not enter into the Leelas. Then later on, he went to counseling to Sanatana Goswami. He said, what happened? He expressed about what all happened. Then Sanatana Goswami, by his wisdom, he said, okay, you arrange a feast. I think there was some Vaishnava might be offended by whatever activity that was going on. May not be not in your awareness. So let us see if some offense or some shortcoming happened to other Vaishnavas. So he told to arrange a feast. So he called all the Vaishnavas for the feast of Goswami. But this Vaishnava didn't come to the feast because that time only few Vaishnavas were staying in Vrindavan. So then Rupa Goswami went and asked about this, discussed, and they discussed. So then they revealed their hearts. So they both were agreed, both were discussed, and asked forgiveness from each other. What all happened? So that's how the offense was nullified again, rectified. So this story was to show that how though one is a advanced devotee as meditating, is unintentionally is doing, but if otherwise was taking a kind of a disrespect to them, then we need to be careful also. Of course, it's a very sensitive and very rare cases. We should not externally intentionally do, at least unintentionally we may do it, and we should definitely try our level best to not to do that. And if some Vaishnava offends, if Vaishnava feels offended by some our unknown offenses also, we ask forgiveness. That's why we every day we offer our obeisances early in the morning to all the Vaishnavas, at least once in a day in the morning, that we beg forgiveness from all the Vaishnavas, unintentional, known and unknown offenses. But the deformed bodies, we should not see the deformed bodies also. There also in the story, the Vaishnava having a limping body. So that kind of bodies also one should not become judgmental or object of pinpointing out or of a criticism or laugh, etc. So in a devotee circle, those whose relationship is very thick, one may have some light exchanges. Sometimes devotees may have some light exchanges between devotees, but that should be based on relationship. In Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Panchattva, their dealings also, Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu, sometimes they criticize each other. You are outcast, you are avadhuta, you are coming to a Brahmana house. Hey, how is that? I am lost my caste. Advaita Acharya used to, all they say in a very laughing mood and a very jolly mood. So that should be based on relationships. And sometimes devotees may say some light words, but that should be based on relationship, and it should not be hurting to each other. That should only enhancing the relationship or enhancing the devotional aspects more and more. That should be the point. So that is the main point here that Prabhupada mentioning that offenses, it will finally come to the offenses. We should be very careful. It should not lead to the offenses. Then finally saying that what should be the dealings between devotees who are on advanced level. There should be no jealousy and no offenses. That means, on practical terms, one is ready to take instructions or siksha from other devotees, superior devotees, and a junior devotee. One should feel that I am a junior devotee. Then only one can take help from other devotees. Right? If I am thinking always I am a senior, I am in Krishna consciousness from last 10 years, 5 years, I am initiated. If these designations are hanging in the mind, then we cannot hear from other Vaishnavas. Prabhupada used to hear classes from the devotees who are hardly 5-6 months in Krishna consciousness. In 1966, Janmashtami, Prabhupada asked all the devotees who are present on the Janmashtami day to share Krishna consciousness, to come and speak on the dais of the Vyasasana. Of course, they were standing, but Prabhupada used to hear from them. Yeah, that's the consciousness of the devotee, that without jealousy and without offenses, we are ready to hear and take instructions from others, try to help others, also, and try to take help from others also, both. And this is a superior spiritual development. Prabhupada is saying how one is superior or inferior is according to spiritual development. So, what is spiritual development? Any of you can share. What do you understand? What is your understanding of spiritual development in Krishna consciousness? What is your reflection when you hear spiritual development in Krishna consciousness? Any of you?
There are many aspects, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
It's a very large topic.
Correct.
We will see from different angles, but some of the points, what I understand, I can
One you
say.
can, one you can
Yeah.
share.
Yeah. So, like, Prabhuji, spiritual development, see, it will not come automatically. If we see more philosophically, then first we need mercy of Guru and Gauranga.
No, I am asking in practical terms, how do you
Okay.
know whether one is spiritually advanced or developed?
Okay,
How
you
will
mean to say that how we can understand within our, congregations, someone
Either in
is
a-
developed. Okay, okay.
either in myself or in others, one is
Mhm.
superior or inferior according to his spiritual development, is saying Prabhupada.
Mhm.
So what causes spiritual advancement? That can be, we have so much of information, but on practical terms, how do you say, on what basis you say that he is spiritually advanced, or I am advancing spiritually also? How do you come to know? What are the symptoms?
He is showing qualities of Madhyama Uttama Adhikari devotee.
Can you specific one point? Any quality?
They all like well read in scriptures and displaying all Vaishnava etiquettes
Ah,
and
yeah,
humble and serving right mood of service.
yeah. If we have the right mood of service attitude,
Yes.
if we are seeing the humility of other devotees, yeah,
And
this
he
is
considers himself to be a fallen, like Kanishta, though he is
yeah,
a
yeah.
Uttama.
This is a good point for ourselves. This is a good point to recognize that I am advancing or not in spiritual life. This is a very solid point that you mentioned, that yeah, one is actually feeling I am not advancing, I am a constant. Yeah, okay, thank you. Any other? What do you reflect? What reflects when you understand spiritual development?
Spiritually advanced devotee, Prabhuji, we can see one quality in it, in himself, like, he will not discriminate. He will see everyone equal platform, part and parcel of Lord.
Yeah,
And his behavior will be very humble towards everyone. Even though someone is criticizing somehow, then also he will not feel offended. And so those quality we can
yeah.
see. Yeah.
These are all very nice points, that one is not discriminating like Prabhupada, not discriminating whom to give Krishna consciousness, whom not to give, whom to talk, whom not to talk. No, he is always available unless the person is very, very critical or blaspheming Krishna. To that person also Prabhupada preached. Prabhupada never left anyone, even scientists and all, who criticizes or who blasphemes the theory of existence of God or whatever. He is always, giving Krishna consciousness to others. Okay, good point. Any other? Anybody want to share what does it mean spiritually
The
developed?
main thing is that he has very beautiful realizations I think the realizations grew deeper as one advances in KC. They come to terms with the scriptures. They have some one-on-one experiences with the Lord, with the Guru. So that makes him more deep.
These are all definitely one kind of advancement where there are spiritual realizations and internal understandings. But external the features I'm asking. Yes, Prabhuji. I forgot your initiate name. Ravi Prabhu.
Yeah, Chandra, what spiritual development means to become more responsible and attached to Hari, Guru, and Vaishnava satisfaction.
Good. That is the one of the main symptom of advancement is taking up responsibility, burdening the shoulder and shouldering the burden. There are two terms are there. A child is a burden to the shoulder initially for the mother. A child is a burden to the mother initially as he is growing up. Like disciple also is initially is kind of a neophyte. He's trying to quarrel. He's trying to find faults. He's trying to do many other things. But as the child grows, he should shoulder the burden of the mother. Shoulder the burden means you are putting your shoulder to the burden. Putting burden on the shoulder means you are becoming a burden on the shoulder. So shoulder the burden means you are keeping your shoulder to the whatever the burdens are there. So disciple, just like child when he grows and grows to the teenager and becomes a elder person, then he takes the mother's responsibility or mother's. If she is carrying some load, then he takes up that weight also on him. That is the responsibility. That is the grown up child maturity. Similarly to disciple also. So that just like Prabhupada, he took up all the responsibilities of spiritual master on his shoulders. So that is the one of these advancement, meaning of advancement in spiritual life. Good point, very good point. Thank you so much. Yeah, we need to understand, of course, in various views, we can understand what spiritual advancement. We are coming away from all kinds of sinful and sense gratification tendencies, and we are growing towards the spiritual aspects and trying to please Krishna, trying to please devotees. So there is also just like going towards top of the hill means we are leaving the ground. So leaving the all kinds of sense enjoyment and going towards spiritual object and goal. That is advancement. Not criticizing others, trying to respect others. Pranadapi sunitena, taroropi sahishnuna, amanina manadena. These are all spiritual advancement. Tushti, pushti, kshudapayo. The example is given as one is advancing. Just like a hungry person is eating. Once hunger is reduced, of course, he says the example comes from the starting from he starts feeling the pleasure of the food. If a hungry person taking prasad, hungry devotee, he starts first he relishes prasad. That is the first thing, and then his hunger is reduced, and then his more nourishment happens in the body. Pleasure, nourishment, and mitigation of the hunger. Tushti, pushti, ksudapaya, tatanukasam. So these three things has to happen. Bhakti pareshanabhavo viraktiranyatra. Bhakti means relish in devotional aspects. He is taking great relish, coming to temple, take darshan, serving the devotees, and doing some service to deities, service to devotees. Bhakti, pareshanabhava, experiencing the Lord's mercy, Lord's yes, as also one point came that internally one is trying to experience the Lord's hand in his various situations of life also indirectly. This is exactly Lord's hand. Lord is helping me in my life. Bhakti paresha anubhava. Virakti. Virakti means from all kinds of material things we are becoming detached. So this is also one way of seeing spiritual advanced. So we see in ourselves and we see in others, so that we take advantage of others' association this way. Okay. Thank you for all. Let's continue.
Three words in Sanskrit. Trushya, I don't know. Can you repeat it?
Tushti, Pushti, Krutapaya. Their verse is there in Bhagavatam. You can search. Tushti, Tushti, Pushti. Tushti means pleasure. The verse starts with the Bhakti Pareshanabhavo Viraktiranyatra. 11th canto. I think I don't remember the exact number, but Bhakti Pareshanabhavo Virakti. Okay. So, okay. So basically, Prabhupada is saying, coming to the point, as one advances, we need to be careful about criticizing. We should not be jealous, and we should avoid offenses. By that, we need to advance in spiritual life. So, what not to observe, what to observe in devotees? Yes. Sagar Prabhu, any other devotee
What?
wants to- Or
Should I continue?
yeah, you can continue these three. You can continue. Yes, Mataji, you can continue these three.
What not to observe and what to observe. One is forbidden to observe the activities of a pure Vaishnava from a material point of view. For the neophyte especially, considering a pure devotee from a material point of view is very injurious. One should therefore avoid observing a pure devotee externally, but should try to see the internal features and understand how he is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In this way, one can avoid seeing the pure devotee from a material point of view, and thus one can gradually become a purified devotee himself.
So one should not see from material point of view, but rather see the spiritual aspects of a devotee, any devotee, unless we have some responsibility to other devotees. Okay.
Reasons for external vision and consequences. Those who think that Krishna consciousness is limited to a certain section of people, a certain section of devotees, or a certain tract of land are generally prone to see the external features of the devotee. Such neophytes, unable to appreciate the exalted service of their advanced devotees, try to bring the Mahabhagavat to their platform. We experience such difficulty in propagating this Krishna consciousness all over the world. Unfortunately, we are surrounded by neophyte God brothers who do not appreciate the extraordinary activities of spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. They simply try to bring us to their platform and they try to criticize us in every respect. We very much regret their naive activities and poor fund of knowledge.
Okay, now Prabhupada starts with a different, of course, the same topic he explains in a different way. So here, Prabhupada himself explaining, he himself is taking, so see, Prabhupada's feelings are coming out in this purport very much, how this movement was very much seen something else. So he's been pointing here, why they are seeing all kinds of, why there is kind of external reasons he's giving for these kinds of visions. So he's mainly saying that because they are seeing in a limited point of view, in a short vision, their vision is short. That's why they are all seeing these limitations in the moment also. So such a neophyte is unable to appreciate the exalted service of activity. So they are trying to break down. By saying they simply try to bring us to their platform and they try to criticize us in every respect. So directly saying we experience this difficulty in propagating this Krishna all the world, especially in India. Outside people, outside the world, they have different struggles in the Western countries. But in India, this was the main difficulty, criticizing and trying to drag the position. So Prabhupada is saying that we very much regret the naive activities of good of such. Criticism Prabhupada faced, and many devotees also who are preaching, they also may face. Definitely they will face. By various criticisms, people will definitely criticize in various ways, but we need to control, we need to tolerate and go ahead in the mission of propagation. That Prabhupada did, and Prabhupada encouraged also many times. In the sense, we tolerate. That's it. We cannot stop criticism of the outside people, but definitely we address whenever it's required. At the same time, we continue ahead with the mission. Prabhupada mentioned many times the example of elephant and dogs. When the caravan walks, dogs keep on barking. When the dogs are barking, the caravan goes ahead. So the caravan means the elephant walking on the road. Many dogs come and barking, they will bark. But the elephant doesn't worry about anything at all, just walks. Okay. Just continue.
Will I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah, definitely.
How to deal with empowered Vaishnava, Shuddha Vaishnava, and how not to deal. An empowered person who is actually engaged in confidential service of the Lord should not be treated as an ordinary human being, for it is stated that unless one is empowered by Krishna, one cannot spread the Krishna conscious movement all over the world. When one does criticize a pure devotee, he commits an Vaishnava offense, Vaishnava Prada, that is very obstructive and dangerous for those who desire to advance in Krishna consciousness. Person cannot derive any spiritual benefit when he offends the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Everyone should be therefore be careful not to be jealous of an empowered Vaishnava, the Suddha Vaishnava. It is also offense to consider an empowered Vaishnava an object of deceiving action. It is offensive to try to give him advice or to correct him.
So he is kind of giving how to deal with empowered Vaishnavas, how not to deal. So we need to see their contributions. Should not treat them ordinary beings. Definitely, every devotee has his own likes and dislikes or way of workings. Especially in ISKCON, there are varied devotees, various levels of devotees. So devotees also may have difference of opinions. Even exalted devotees, they may have difference of opinions. How to spread the Krishna consciousness. The platform is how to spread the Krishna consciousness. In that, they may have difference of opinions, but they will not have personal shortcomings in terms of criticizing others, etc. on a personal level. On a level, how to expand Krishna consciousness, in that there may be varied opinions and understandings. That is understood because that is a transcendental opinions. So that is understood because everyone is individual. Everyone is inspired by Krishna within in various ways. And that's how Krishna conscious movement also expanding. Some are inspired by various projects, some by contribution, distribution, Harinam Sankirtan, farm projects, or youth preaching, or temple buildings, and various ways. In various ways, various fronts, we have so many NVP worship, or in terms of teaching Shastras. Yeah, at various levels they are trying to preach. In Western, especially the yoga is the main program to attract people to the Krishna consciousness. So there are various levels and various ways to attract people, and various opinions are there. But we need to understand, and we need to, if we are unable to understand, we need to clarify with the advanced devotees how we should be seen, how they should be seen. But we should see the contributions to the mission, and we should not judge an empowered Vaishnava, and should not be treated like an ordinary person. So that's Prabhupada is expressing here that everyone should be careful, jealous, one should not be jealous, and do apras. Yes. Yeah. Then Prabhupada lastly gives that how we can at least on the practical terms understand an advanced Vaishnava. Please read.
How to understand who is an advanced devotee? One can distinguish between. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes.
One can distinguish between a neophyte Vaishnava and an advanced Vaishnava by their activities. The advanced Vaishnava is always situated as per the spiritual master, and the neophyte is always considered his disciple. The spiritual master must not subject to the advice of a disciple, nor should a spiritual master be obliged to take instruction from those who are not his disciples. This is the sum and substance of Srila Rupa Goswami's advice in the 6th verse.
So by the activities of the devotee, if his time and the energy is 24 hours is spending just to spreading Krishna consciousness, trying to dedicate his life. The example of his Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj recently, and also all the exalted Vaishnavas in our movement. Every breath thinks about how to help people, how to make Krishna consciousness expanded in every town and village, how to make Prabhupada mission, how to make Prabhupada famous. So that's what their mission, their every thought, every breath, every word and every act, Kaya Manasa Vacha, they always think about how to expand the mission. So we need to see by their activities, and also sometimes they may not be externally, one may not be able to understand some activities, but one should be careful about before coming to judgments. One may observe, but one should clarify if something are not befitting into my understanding. So that's the main point of this verse, some substance of the verse. Yeah, Prabhupada is saying those who are not at the level of advanced Vaishnavas, they should not advise spiritual master. Because Prabhupada was criticized or pinpointed especially about his activities, giving initiations, Brahman initiations, sannyas, to even Westerners. That's why Prabhupada is saying that one should be careful about those activities, giving instructions to exalted devotees. So the main point here in this verse is that we are externally, we need to be careful when we are seeing some shortcomings or defects in the body of a Vaishnava. And one should not pinpoint saying that these are all his karma. And that's why he's suffering now. So that is one point. And we need to help other devotees. If we are finding some, we should not see their karma, but we should focus on our dharma to help other devotees, if at all if they are facing some challenges in their spiritual life. By that dealings, both 5th and 6th talked about how one should deal and how one should not deal with an Vaishnava association. Then its platform comes where we can chant the holy names properly. That's the verse brings with the 7th verse. Very, very foundational and essential verse of the Nectar of instruction. We are trying to do all those things to this verse of chanting the holy names. So in this verse, Prabhupada talks about chanting, how it affects our life, how we can advance in spiritual life, why we are unable to advance in spiritual life. These are all points of this verse. So let us recite this verse. Syat Krishna Nama Charitati Sitapta Vidya.
Sat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sita Avidya.
Syat Krishna Nama Charitat Sitapta Vidya.
Sat Krishna
Syat Krishna Nama Charitati Sitapya Vidya.
Pittopatapta Rasanasya Narojikano.
Pitto
Pitto Pataptarasya Narojikano.
Kintvaadarat Anudinam Khalu Saiva Jushta.
Kintvadaradam Udinam Kalu Saiva Jushta.
Swadvikramat Bhavati Tadgatamulahantri.
Sadhi Pramadhavati Hantri.
So Shat Krishna Nama Charitadi. Krishna Nama Charita Adi. Krishna's name and his pastimes, etc. Or Sita, Sita means they are very sweet, very pleasurable. They are indeed. Sati means indeed. Indeed, they are sweet. But what happens? Avidya, because of avidya is compared to pittopatapta. Pittopatapta is giving an analogy. Pittopatapta. Pitta is like a body's constituents, three constituents of the body. Pitta, kapavata pitta. The pitta means it's a acidity, acid pitta. When it rises, when pitta is very high, because of the pitta, one is tapta, one is suffering of high pitta. Basically, that is a jaundice disease. What happens? Pittopatapta. Rasanasya narochikanam, because of the disease of jaundice. Rasanasya narochikanam. One doesn't have a taste in foodstuffs. Especially, Prabhupada explains this analogy. Because of the pitta, jaundice disease, one doesn't have any taste on the tongue. So similarly, though they are pleasurable, Krishna, Nama, Krishna Nam and Charita, etc., or Sita are very pleasurable. But because of avidya, we are unable to taste those nectarian name, form, qualities, pastimes, etc. So that the example is given to explain our condition, present condition. Because of avidya, we are unable to taste. So what to do now? Yeah, kintu, okay. But kintu adarat, with respect, anudinam, every day, day in and day out, or regularly, especially every day. Prabhupada translates anudinam, every day, or 24 hours daily. Anudinam, 24 hours daily. So, kintu adarat, carefully, with respectfully, with adoration. Kintu adarat, anudinam, kalusaiva, it will certainly happen. Justa, it will happen. Or when it will happen certainly. When it will happen? When chanted. Justa means when you chanted, when you take all this Krishna Nama and Charita, when you take daily with respect, when you take daily, it will certainly happen. Swadi, Swadvi, Swadvi means Swad. It will come again, the Swad will come again. How it will come? Immediately? Yes, Kramad, gradually it will come. Kramad it will come, gradually it will develop. Kramad Bhavati, it will gradually develop. Swadvik Kramad Bhavati. Gradually the taste will come. Just like we have a fever or any other disease, we don't have taste in the tongue. We can't relish. But as we gradually take medicine and patya, both, Aushadha and patya, both, medicine and prescriptions, then Tadgata Mulahantri, all the disease from the root, Mulahantri, from the root, all the disturbances, Gata, Tadgata, the disease will be rooted out. So that's the verse is saying that because of avidya, we are unable to taste the Krishna's holy name and the pastimes, etc. But the same medicine, especially the example gives the jaundice example. Prabhupada gives that sugarcane is the medicine. So for jaundice person, sugarcane is a medicine. So sugarcane is very sweet, but for the jaundice person is very bitter. But by gradually taking daily the same sugarcane juice, one gradually develops the very delightful taste. Again, you can drink the sugarcane juice with delight as he keeps on taking the medicine. First, initially it will be like a medicine, but later the same thing, it will become like a nectar. That is the main point of the verse. Is it translation? Some other Sagat
So,
Prabhu?
I just few. The
Pardon, I
holy
could-
name, pastimes and activities of Krishna are all transcendental, sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one affected by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet. It's wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root.
So by carefully, Akarat, Anudiram, every day. Yes, that will reach awakens. So Prabhupada gives first a summary of the verse, what exactly the verse is saying, a bit explanation of the verse. Continue.
Yes.
Any
Some-
other?
The holy name of Lord Krishna, his quality, pastimes, and so forth are all natures of the absolute truth, beauty, and bliss. Naturally, they are sweet, like sugar candy, which appeals to everyone. Absolute truth, beauty, and bliss. The science, however, is compared to the disease called jaundice, which is caused by bilious secretions. Attacked by jaundice, the tongue of a diseased person cannot palatably release the sugar candy. Rather, a person with jaundice considers something sweet to taste very bitter. Yeah. Avidya, ignorance, similarly perverts the ability to release the transcendental palatal name, quality, form, and pastimes of Lord. Despite this disease, if one with great care and attention takes to Krishna consciousness, chanting the holy name and hearing Krishna's transcendental pastimes, his ignorance will be destroyed and his tongue enabled to taste the sweetness of the transcendental nature of Krishna and his paraphernalia. Such a recovery of spiritual health is possible only by regular cultivation of Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
What is
So
the
here-
limits and
Yes, right. So here, Prabhupada just summarized. Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji?
Am I audible?
Yes, Subhuji, you are audible. Yes.
I'm hearing my own voice. That's why I'm asking. Maybe you can mute yourself. Yeah. So, so here Prabhupada just gives the summary of the whole sloka. Again, explains the analogy. How holy name are naturally they are very sweet, but nishines, he compares nishines, the disease to the disease, ignorance, avidya, but the jaundice disease, the ignorance is compared to. So in that condition, a person with jaundice considers something sweet, tastes very bitter. So similarly, avidya perverts our avidya. What is avidya? Avidya of our identity. Prabhupada clarifies later on about our identity. Ignorance of our identity, ignorance of Krishna's identity, ignorance of material nature. So these three aspects we need to be knowledgeable, need to understand about these three aspects. Who is living entity, who is Krishna, and what is material nature. When we understand about these three aspects, we are more coming towards knowledge aspects, then we can engage in Krishna service ourselves and engage everything in Krishna service. By that, our ignorance is destroyed. So knowledge about myself, knowledge about Krishna, matter, spirit, and controller of both. So that is actually knowledge. Prabhupada defines in Bhagavad Gita, I think second chapter, third chapter. Knowledge means to know the matter, to know the spirit, and to know the controller of both. So that is the real knowledge. So by that knowledge, we curb our ignorance, we remove our ignorance. What is matter? What is spirit? Who is the controller of both? Of course, in spirit, we both come, the living entity and the Supreme Lord also. Controller of both, in a sense, is the Supreme Lord. Spirit is a spirit, especially the Jiva, living entity. Matter is matter. Controller of both is the Supreme Lord. General categorization. So, Lord is also spirit, definitely. But here, what Prabhupada defined knowledge is especially matter, spirit, MSC. Is the Radhachan Prabhu's code word MSC. Mass, matter, spirit, and controller of both is called knowledge. So by that knowledge, we come to a healthy state. What is here analogy wise? We come to a healthy state. So such recovery of spiritual health is possible only by regular cultivation of Krishna consciousness. So regular cultivation means what? So regularly chanting Hare Krishna, regularly hearing Prabhupada books, sharpening our intelligence by Prabhupada's books and knowledge. Thereby the ignorance keeps on covering our knowledge. That is the condition of material nature. So just like a knife in the kitchen, if you are not using the kitchen properly, the knife and all the utensils will become very dull and they'll be rusted. You cannot cut the vegetables. So we need to sharpen the knife. Even when we are using knife, we also need to sharpen the knife regularly. Otherwise, after cutting some time, vegetables will not be cut and we will be frustrated. Either nail cutter or the knife to cut the vegetables, if it is not sharp enough, it's very frustrating experience. So similarly, when we don't have proper knowledge, when the intelligence is not sharp enough, by regularly reading and hearing, we cannot cut the illusions or ignorance, which very much covers and it covers our knowledge. That's why Krishna also gives the example in I think sixth chapter or third chapter, I think, where a living entity is covered by different levels of different layers of ignorance. Our the garbha, just like garbha is covered by the womb, just like a fire is covered by the ashes. And one more example he gives, covering. So that coverings are gradually happen. That ignorance has that Avaranatmika Shakti. Krishna has that two energies, Avaranatmika Shakti and Prakrit Atmika Shakti. So they keep on covering the living entity. That's the nature of the material world. So, but by our determination, by our regular cultivation, we practice come to a natural condition of our life, healthy condition of life. Yes. So now he starts to explain in detail what is our natural condition, what is the disease condition. He gave a brief explanation. Now he gives more details about disease condition at an individual level, and at social level also he gives the application of what is the disease of at social level and what is solution. Of course, solution he comes to the main point of chanting Hare Krishna, but he gives more of an individual and social level. Please read.
What is the disease and normal condition like? Explain the analogy. When a man in the material world takes more interest in complexity of life than in Krishna consciousness, is considered to be a disease condition. The normal condition is to remain an eternal servant of the Jivara Swarup Krishna Nityadas. Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 20.108. Why am become disease? This healthy condition is lost when the living entity forgets Krishna due to being attracted by the external features of Krishna's Maya energy. The word of Maya is called Durashara, which means false or bad shelter. One who puts faith in Durashara becomes a candidate for hoping against hope. What does it mean? Becomes a candidate for hoping against hope. The material world is trying to become happy, and although their material attempts are baffled in every way due to their nescience, they cannot understand their mistakes. People try to rectify one mistake by making another mistake. This is the way of struggle for existence in the material world.
So he is giving various symptoms of disease, how one gets a disease more and more, how one is aggravating disease, what is the normal condition explaining here. So this is a beautiful definition of what is disease condition and what is the healthy condition. When a man in the material world, or a man or a devotee especially, an Indian man also, takes more interest in materialistic life, materialistic way of life than in Krishna consciousness, he is considered to be disease condition. So if we are interested more in terms of a material way of life, then we are in disease condition. But the normal condition is to always thinking ourselves, identifying with ourselves as Krishna's servant and devotee servant. We are trying in that way. That is a normal condition. And that when we exercise that consciousness, we come to the normal condition. We come to the healthy condition. So why I became diseased? Yeah, we forgot Krishna. Just like there is a small story. Because there's also various ways they put up in Puranas, in Upanishads. The example of a lion and deer was given, just like a baby deer or baby deer when it falls, not a baby deer, when the baby lion, when it gets lost and gets into the flock, in the flock of sheep or the deers, when it grows in that group of sheep or deers, and it starts behaving like that. So it's a baby of a small baby of lion because it's growing in the different group. It started behaving like that. But one day it happened that it went to the shore, it went to the drink water and saw himself like a lion. Hey, I'm looking different from the others. So when one more lion came on the other side and roared and said, "You roared like this." Then baby lion started roaring like that. So that is the one example to understand that we are not belong to this material world or matter. We actually belong to spirit, but we are behaving as if we are conditioned by matter. Yaya sammohito jiva atmanam trigunaatmakam paropi manutenartham tatpuram javipadyate. Because of material condition, we are identifying with the matter and we are identifying with the modes. Atmanam trigunaatmakam paropi manutenartham. Paropi, even though we are transcendental to this matter, but we are identifying with this matter. So, of course, another short story is given that just when one of the very wealthy person's son was going to forest, went to forest, and while driving the forest, he somehow fell in a valley, and because of that, he lost his consciousness, he lost his memory because of the shock of falling from into valley. And there were so many tribals were staying and living there. So he was identifying with them and doing all the activities what they are doing because he lost all the memory. They took him up and he was living with them. He's cutting the logs and breaking the logs and carrying the logs. He's doing all the activities because he lost all the memory. So when the father came trying to search him, and then he came and meeting him and trying to show some symptoms, some indications, his belongings. Hey, you are my son. See this. Did you remember this? Did you remember that? So he's trying to bring out from amnesia of forgetfulness. So by that he can again understand his real position as a wealthy father's son. So similarly, our condition, we forgot Krishna, we are trying to identify him with many other things, this world. That is our healthy condition to remember Krishna and serve Krishna, not to be attracted by this Durashraya. Prabhupada mentioned this. Maya is like Durashraya, bad shelter. One who puts his faith in Durashraya means one who puts his faith in trying to serve the Maya's company. Then he becomes a candidate for hoping against hope, trying to be happy in this world. He is explaining the hoping against hope in the next para. Is a candidate for hoping against the hope. I will become one day happy and joyful in this world. Everyone is trying to be happy, but their material attempts baffle every way. So Prabhupada explaining the naked reality of this world. People try to rectify one mistake by making another mistake. That is the nature of struggle for existence. So in this way, the disease is aggravated day by day by people in general. That's what Prahlad Maharaj also says in his famous sloka. I don't remember exactly, but he says people are trying to make solutions for the problem, but the solution becoming more problematic than the original problem itself. And we can practically experience in this world. People are trying to find so many solutions to the problems, but every day, all the problems are increasing day by day, not at all reducing. People thought, yeah, every invention, scientific invention is a great asset, definitely in terms of bringing comfort to the life, but not at all happiness and satisfaction to the life. Everyone agrees to the fact that day by day people are becoming more and more selfish, and the mental diseases are increasing day by day, stress, anxiety, nuclear families, and all the, in terms of nature, in terms of ecological disasters, in terms of food, in terms of air, in terms of water, everywhere there is pollution. In the relationship, there is a pollution. In ingredients, there is a pollution. Though we may say we are advancing scientifically day by day, but on a social level, on an individual level, a national level, international level, there is only decline in the graph in terms of satisfaction, happiness, etc. So that's the increasing, aggravating the disease of individual level, Prabhupada saying here. So, yeah, other devotee can continue. Some other devotee. 5 minutes more.
May I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah, we continue.
Once. Should I read from doctor's prescription?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Doctor's prescriptions are not accepted. If one in this condition is advised to take to Krishna consciousness and be happy, he does not accept such instructions. Don't be cheated by pseudo doctors. Disease at social level. This Krishna consciousness movement is being spread all over the world just to remedy this gross ignorance. People in general are misled by blind leaders. The leaders of human society, the politicians, philosophers, and scientists, are blind because they are not Krishna conscious. According to Bhagavad Gita, because they are bereft of all factual knowledge, due to their atheistic way of life, they are actually sinful rascals and are the lowest among men. Namam dushkrino mudha prapadyante naradhama mayapaha pratjnana asuram bhavana. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, though whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Bhagavad Gita 7:15. Such people never surrender to Krishna, and they oppose the endeavor of those who wish to take Krishna's shelter. When such atheists become leaders of society, the entire atmosphere is surcharged with nuisance. In such a condition, people do not become very enthusiastic to receive this Krishna consciousness movement. Just as a diseased person suffering from jaundice does not relish the taste of sugar candy. One must be intelligent to take the right medicine at social level. However, one must know that for jaundice, sugar candy is the only specific medicine. Similarly, in the present confused state of humanity, Prabhuji, is your screen?
Yeah, it's went into saving mode. Yeah, I'll just can you read that one last statement? But
Yes.
are you able to read?
Similarly, in the present confused state of humanity, Krishna consciousness, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram.
Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
He
I can
says
see
that
to that only.
yeah, he says that this is the only solution for the present confused society, even society's confused state of humanity. So that social level also, Prabhupada comes to this conclusion that by chanting the holy names, only the disease at social level also, those who are trying to aggravate the disease in terms of becoming more and more materialistic, they can also become relish Krishna consciousness. Take to Krishna consciousness first of all and start practicing, and they can relish. That's how he concludes major half of the purport with this understanding that we need to take up, he explains the disease condition, healthy condition, and mainly he gives the example. Of course, you might have many times heard also about this example. Yeah, we try to take the medicine. So, but Prabhupada explains more in terms of the doctor's analogy, how it's a disease condition. We are trying to recover. And when we are trying to recover a hospital, in generally when you talk about doctor and hospital, so ISKCON is like more of a hospital also, where we are trying to recover ourselves by taking the medicine. At the same time, we are also trying to offer the medicine by becoming compounders or nurses to other people who are coming to Krishna consciousness. So in both, I mean, there are different levels of devotees in Krishna consciousness in ISKCON. We are deceased, like in the schools also, in colleges. Though they are students at one level, but at the same time they are kind of a leaders or teachers for the juniors, especially in Gurukul that happens. So they are learning from the guru or teacher. At the same time, they are also teaching to the lower standard students. Similarly, in ISKCON also we are trying to taking the medicine ourselves and trying to cure ourselves. At the same time, we are trying to offer the medicine to others also. That is the only remedy for setting the world all right. That's Prabhupada's conclusion at the individual and social level, how we are suffering and how Krishna consciousness is the only solution. Okay, it's already 5. We pause here for the day. Almost now the verses are very short, and Prabhupada's purport is also not very big. They may complete within one class, one verses. Okay. So thank you so much for your enthusiastic participation, patient hearing. We will meet next week, continuing our Prabhupada explains more about devotional understanding and devotees' progress in the later part of the purport, how one chants Hare Krishna, one gradually grows from faith to he develops his stages till prema. That's the next part of the purport. How our disease is reduced and we come to a healthy condition, developing our attraction towards Krishna. And that will be the last part of the purport. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Shri Prabhupada.